Right then, good evening everybody and welcome back to another race in the IIRL season. This is round 2 of the open tier, in which it is completely open to everyone. We have 11 drivers tonight. There is no qualifying. This is based on reverse championship order. And if you are a reserve and not in the championship, you will be placed based on pace. So we will have JohnJohn, our four-time NA champion, will be starting nearer the back of the grid because having him at the front would be boring. In our other tiers, it is a sprint week, but in this tier, it is just an 50% sprint race. So we will hopefully have a good time with that. We have 11 drivers tonight, as previously stated. The weather looking very good, so that'll be fine and dandy. And this is, of course, Austria. Co-electing with the real life Grand Prix this weekend, in which hopefully we get some great action. Because it is reverse championship order, that does mean that our race winner last week, Björn, will be starting closest to the back. Of course, he dominated that Canadian race and absolutely smashed it out of the park. Of course, we did have some little bit of chaos here and there. Good evening, Tucker. I hope you're very well, my friend. Good to see you back in the chat. Yeah, it is very, very chaotic here at the moment. We are very much deciding what to do with this tier, as we want to try and get interest into it. Of course, Thursdays are a very, very busy day for some, but we are still going to try and enjoy the race as is. So if you are free on Thursdays and looking for a league to race in, I can put you in contact with Padge or anyone that deals with the recruiting process in our league. Then feel free to even send a message in the chat, and I can put you in contact with those guys. But we are hopefully going to have a good race nonetheless. But as we will be going in a minute, so as soon as that happens, as we wait for the starting line, it is very, very nice weather in Austria in the Styrian Hills right now. And I'm gonna hear the countdown, getting ready for the formation lap for our 45-minute long sprint. Of course, Austria, race, but we will, as we see the drivers that TD is lining it on the front row of the grid in his Williams, which is very neat. Rothwell P2 in the Mercedes, Krispy Kreme P3 in the Mercedes as well, Shivers P4 in the Haas, Steinjoss P5, of course F2 champion from last season, David P6, Wouter P7, Lesio P8, our reigning champion, NA champion JohnJohn P9, Kodkamper P10 and Björn P11. So you can see we've got a range of strategies going on tonight, nobody using the soft tyres. But it is going to be interesting to see how this goes down. So you can see TD leading the way. Of course, this is his first race of the season. He has competed in a couple of races towards the end of last season, but we will be looking for some juicy racing from him in this reverse grid format in which the fastest drivers start at the back, or at least based on championship order. So if you have a good race, then you might be starting near the back and have to fight your way up through the pack. Oh, Shivers, my NA teammate, lining up 4th on the grid. Very, very nice for him. Stanios in behind, getting ready, using the number 2 on that. As Rothwell has been jumped too far in the grid box and has been placed back. All the drivers lining up now, just waiting for Björn to make it, and he has. And we will... Good evening, Steely! I hope you're very well, my friend. And it is 5 red lights, and away they fly! It's great start off the line for TD, but will Rothwell make the move? As we can see, the Alpine in the background of Alessio, and bit of contact in turn 1 between Shivers and I believe Stanios that was, but David getting further back down the grid off the start. JohnJohn has already made his way up to the front of the pack. Steely, if you look in management, you'll see why there is no sprint. It's been a hell of a day, to be honest with you. Lovely little bits of fighting going on. Wouter is making his way past Shivers. And Krispy Kreme and Alessio are fighting very, very nicely. TD still leading the way on those hard tyres. As now is getting a bit of a gap to Rothwell. About half a tenth. Of course, there are 3 DRS straights down this track. And JohnJohn making a... Oh, he goes off track there. That's very unfortunate for JohnJohn, which will allow Björn to have a look as we go to the onboard here, because I'm going to fire my TV crew again. And a lovely move from Björn. JohnJohn does look like he gets pushed off track maybe a little bit, but nothing too harmful there. Rothwell makes the move on TD into turn 3. So very, very nice. Is JohnJohn has made his way past Wouter. Very, very nice overtake there from our NA champion. Björn on the outside of Krispy Kreme. Very, very nicely done from him. And Alessio, our podium sitter, making his way past TD, getting caught out with those hard tyres. And Stanios, I didn't see, has made his way up to P2 and is now chasing down Rothwell in the Mercedes. And yellow flag, which is Rothwell. I think he might have had wing damage there. That's not very handy for his race. And as you can see, Wouter Kodkamper making his way past Wouter. It's not a wing change, it's just an early strategy call. As JohnJohn makes his way past Krispy Kreme. Yeah, the race leader getting caught out there. Oh, bit of contact there. Krispy Kreme is round. And he's got wing damage. That is not handy. It's a terrible, not so decent start for the Mercedes. As Alessio has made his way past Stanios, and Stanios getting a bit of run back into the corner. This left-hander, Stanios looking to get the run, but is not able to. Alessio will stay ahead. As you can see, everyone following this train very nicely. It's everyone apart from Rothwell and the 2 Mercedes being in the train, which is very, very nice to see. We will have some close racing for the moment. We've got 32 laps remaining. This race has only just started. David making the move on Shivers into turn 1. Steely saying he spun in the penultimate corner. It's very unfortunate for Rothwell, but hopefully he can still have a good time out there. JohnJohn getting past TD into turn 3. There's a bit of a ghost mode going on there for Björn, but Alessio makes his way past, and it's going to be a fight into turn 3 as Björn was blocked in, our current Open Tier Championship leader. But Alessio is the one that comes out ahead, and this is going to be a great fight, I think, between maybe a good number of the drivers here tonight, and see how strategy plays into this race. TD gets the first time penalty of this race. He needs to figure out how to not cut corners. Back up to the front of the grid, Björn is making his way up to the front of the grid, or the front of the pack, in Steinos and Alessio, as JohnJohn gets caught out on the exit of one, bogging himself down, so he might not be able to have a look on the back of Björn. And Alessio and Steinos are battling into turn 4. We'll see what he can do. As Björn makes the move on Alessio, and Steinos will take the lead of this race. Battling commences everywhere. We see how tyre wear plays into this at the point when people make their first pit stops. Apologies, a bit rusty at the streaming. Or maybe that's a warning for Björn, or maybe he tried to escape the warning. Björn will never have a look on the sister car into 3, and will he make the move? He will. It's a great move there from a great and easy move as Alessio makes the move on Steinos. They will both have DRS here, so who will stay out ahead into turn 4? And Alessio sits in behind, but JohnJohn makes the move on the outside. A little bit of wheel banging there, but nothing too serious, as TD makes the move on Wouter as well. Oh, lovely stuff there. Everyone's still following. TD has a second gap to Cod Camper, but the rest of them all within the packs that they are in. And we'll see how this goes. Of course, Austria, very high speed track, very, very quick. The 3 DRS zones will make it very, very difficult to break guess distance, as JohnJohn on his hard tyres looks to make the move on Steinos, and a bit of contact as Ghost Mode turns on for JohnJohn, but JohnJohn will still make the move ahead, as Björn now looking very cautiously, as JohnJohn will make the move on the outside, and very, very close between Steinos and JohnJohn, but Steinos stays ahead according to the race director. Bit of contact there between the two drivers towards the left hand, but JohnJohn stays ahead. JohnJohn makes the move. That was a lovely overtake there, lovely bit of battling there from the two of them. Absolutely class stuff from the Red Bull and the McLaren. It's all starting to settle down a bit now. We'll just let them, let the drivers flow into this race and just see how everything goes down. Of course, this is just a reminder, this is a reverse grid format. However, it's just lap 8, and Björn and JohnJohn, who are the drivers that started in the back 2 of 3 positions, along with Cod Camper, are already 1 and 2. So, as it currently stands, Björn will be taking the win. This is a very good track, and always Krispy Kreme has just allowed his teammate past to look like maybe a little bit of spin there. David has made his way past TD in the Williams, and David has gone straight on, maybe a warning there, but JohnJohn has made the move on Björn as Krispy Kreme gets a 3-second time penalty, his first of the race. TD getting back past David on the exit of 3, and David with the use of DRS. They both have DRS, but it's going to be a fight into the corner. TD locking up, and he spins! TD spins on the curb! That is not what TD wants. Shivers makes his way through, and Björn has got past JohnJohn. That's not the usual part of the track that you see in overtake, but you know, Björn making it shown that it can be done. As JohnJohn will slot behind. Camper makes his way past Alessio, who's coming into the pit lane there. Very, very Alessio calling it time on those medium compound tyres, and he will switch on to another set of medium tyre. Oh, he sits onto the hards actually. TD getting a 3-second time penalty, his second of the race. TD can't park there, mate. But anyway, JohnJohn and Björn getting ready to commence battle again into turn 4. JohnJohn and Björn both locking up, but Björn will make it out of the bed, but JohnJohn's got the inside line, and all but Björn on the outside, going side by side. This is beautiful stuff, and Björn will make the move stick, and they're both still side by side. This is incredible battle. This is incredible stuff from the two drivers. Björn will make it through, and they're still side by side, but JohnJohn will have to concede the position. Steinjoss coming into the pit stop to make his first pit stop of the race, and I imagine we'll be seeing a set of hard tyres go onto the car. As Steinjoss pits onto the hard tyres. Of course, Shivers coming into the pits. I'm surprised he made it 10 laps. If any of you know Shivers, you'll know he is notoriously bad at tyre wear and keeping tyre wear, but you know, he seems to be doing alright for himself so far. My NA teammate. And he switches onto the hard tyres as well. Will we be seeing some attempted one-stops here tonight? I highly doubt it. If you watched the NA race on Tuesday, then you might have seen that there were only a couple of drivers that attempted it, and they were very, very close to puncture territory towards the end. But unfortunately, no one was able to make it. Currently, two closest battles on track are TD and Steinjoss. Steinjoss making the move on TD into... I don't know what corner this is. I'm going to do some maths. I think it's turn 6. Great overtake there. Björn and Camper both coming into the pit stops for their first pit stops. JohnJohn will continue on with Wouter. He's got a 5-second gap currently. David will be promoted to P3 with this. Alessio setting the fastest lap of the race. That's great to see on his fresh hard tyres, as Björn and Camper will come out just ahead of TD. TD doesn't look like he's electing to have an attempt on the Red Bull, as JohnJohn's still leading the way, but Steinjoss is on the back of Alessio with his fresh tyres. So we will see if Steinjoss can get past him, or they can just produce a lovely good battle. Still a long way to go in this race, so we'll see what can happen. Everyone settling down into their own positions. As I say, that TD comes into the pit stops after on lap 13. He gets a 10-second time penalty. No, TD, that was just written in the stars there after you see him lock up into the pit lane. And Shivers is on the back of Krispy Kreme. We'll see what he can do. As Shivers and Krispy Kreme, Shivers, sorry, has been is now off track. Unfortunate for him. So that does elect Krispy Kreme up to P9. Oh, David is now making his first stop of the race, and that will elect Steinos, Björn and Cod Camper up. Rothwell will now be pushed ahead. Björn makes the move on Steinos. Great stuff there. Still got a long way to go in this race, but we'll see how it can happen. I hope any of you in chat are enjoying this close racing so far. TD going very nicely through turn 1 after Krispy Kreme has pit onto a set of mediums. Of course, this being the whale track, as JohnJohn now will pit for his first pit stop. I imagine Wouter will be following him in, which he is. And Wouter will unfortunately hit the brake marker board, but nothing personal hopefully there. JohnJohn will come out behind the back of this pack. He's still got 21 laps to try and catch up and overtake this top 4. We're all battling very, very closely, as Rothwell will be ahead of Wouter at the end. And Alessio and Steinos going side by side down the DRS. They should both have the power of the battery. And Steinos will look to the inside, and they're very, very close there, as Alessio will unfortunately lose out on P2, as Steinos will go through for the lead. Wouter and Rothwell are also battling into 4, but Wouter will go ahead. Rothwell is round on his hold hard tyres. Rothwell, that is not the start to this race that he would have wanted. And those tyres seem to be finished. I don't think Rothwell will be very happy, as Björn sets the fastest up of this race. I imagine Rothwell will be into the pits at probably this lap, because those tyres do look like cheese. And it is definitely time for time, so time is time. JohnJohn makes a move on Cod Camper and is looking on Alessio, and a lovely close battle there between the two of them, but JohnJohn does get the through and through. Rothwell has pitted for another set of mediums. He won't be able to make it to the end, I imagine, unless he pulls off a miracle. Alessio and Cod Camper battling side by side. A lot of people choosing to fight into turn 4. Interesting choice. Back off with time says that time says it's 1 hour ahead in Austria, so time says that we're 1 hour behind in the UK. Anyone in European time, this is level with your time, so time states that time, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Good evening, Willow. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going insane over here. I hope you're doing very well, my friend. There was a lot of time in the sentence. JohnJohn setting the fastest lap of this race on those very, very fresh mediums. But we love a bit of time over here, Willow. So if you've got any time facts about time Austria, then go ahead and tell the time. Of course, time is a phrase calling back to mine and Corgi streams in the old 81 from a couple of seasons ago. which we had very, very good times. TD getting another 10-second time penalty. He's trying to serve his 10-second time penalty. There's a lot of 10-second time penalties for him, so he's chosen to retire from this race. Yes, the time for the pole lap on Tuesday was the pole record. Of course, there is no qualifying tonight. In NA, the qualifying record was broken. It was the pole record. I can't remember what the lap time was, but it was. Who started P1? TD. TD did. It's reverse championship grid, so it was. Oh, it was a 3.2. Ah, yes. Yeah, it was. Honestly, I remember being on track, and that was just a horrific thing to see. But yeah, we had. If I do the positions gained this one, we had Björn starting at the back of the grid because of his because he is our championship leader, as Björn and JohnJohn battle again, and Camper making a move on Alessio. So JohnJohn I elected to put JohnJohn further to the back of the grid because, well, he is our NA champion, and he would have been at the front of the grid, but you know, that's a different conversation for a different day. But that was our starting grid, but it has already fizzed out. I think Björn and JohnJohn and Steinos made it to the front of the grid on lap 4. So, unfortunately, it has not gone well. Still a good watch though. There's still been some great battles, but there are torques. Yeah, just a bit. Alessio making his way past Camper with the use of DRS. So he's got a 2.6 second gap to catch up, which he will be hoping for. As Rothwell, no! The Mercedes have not had a good race so far, but they are looking to have a very, very nice battle with each other. Maybe with a safety car that could help somewhere. D-score. TD, yeah, that was not a good showing from you, especially from pole. From pole, I expected you to be so much better, but I expected good things out of you. But you know, things happen, and yeah. Yeah, Willow stated it perfectly with that emoji. The cries. 109 degrees. What were your tire pressures, my guy? That's crazy. I mean, you probably spun. Oh, fair enough. And Alessio and Camper using their DRS to try and catch up to the top 3. But will there be any elected moves? No, there will not. As I've got my fresh water to help with my rambling. TD stating in the chat that he probably did not put his tyre pressures on correctly. As Rothwell getting past Krispy Kreme into 3. Oh, and that's Krispy Kreme has hit the wall, and that is an end plate. No safety car, unfortunately, for Krispy Kreme, but that is not good. Yeah, Stanios is falling off the back of the two of them. Alessio and Camper are doing their very best to catch up. Of course, Stanios did not finish the race last week. He got caught out. We'll see if Alessio and Camper can make their way back up. Everyone's kind of settling into their own rhythm. The only two battles you've got really at the moment are between the race lead between JohnJohn and Björn, and Cod Camper and Alessio, but I have a feeling that Alessio and Cod Camper are going to be working together to try and make way up. That will allow for the RB driver to stay with, and Björn is looking at making the move. A little bit of smoke, but nothing too serious, and a little bit of tap there, but JohnJohn will eventually have to slot in behind of Björn, and a bit more smoke there from the car of JohnJohn. We continue to see that they are slotting back in the pack. Could have been a warning there for JohnJohn. Of course, JohnJohn is not known for getting many track limit warnings, as Cod Camper and Alessio both elected to pit at the same time for their final stops. There is no brake marker board, but that is not a problem for these two because they do not get a penalty, unlike some. Am I right, TD? Wouter will make his way through, and Björn and JohnJohn will battle again. Which one of them has got the DRS? That will be Björn. And Björn will slot in behind JohnJohn. And Alessio and Cod Camper both coming out on the hard tyres. Yeah, these two will consider making their way into the pit, and Steinos has fallen even further back. He's fallen back by another 8/10 in the last couple of laps. Krispy Kreme will pit now. He's currently running in 10th place. And Cod Camper will make his way past David into turn 6, I want to say. Honestly, I should have got a track map up, that would have been smart. But welcome to my streams where we keep everything chaotic. Yeah, he could go mediums, but I think it'll be very risky if he does. And even on lesser fuel, as Wouter and Shivers are now pitting for their final stops of the race. And Rothwell will come out ahead of, as David and Alessio fight, and I think David knows he's on way older tyres, so he will not. Yeah, that's what I did think, Willow. I know that T2's the MotoGP T2, but not actually a T2 T2, so T2 and T3, and yeah. Back up to the front of the pack where Björn, will he make the move? We got a yellow flag, which I believe is Rothwell. Very unfortunate there, and he spun on old tyres again. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, Willow. This track's numbering system is confusing, but I won't say anything. I don't make tracks. I'm not a track master. I'm not a track star. So whatever will be, you know. Que sera, sera. Rothwell getting another time penalty in this race. I believe that was another. As JohnJohn and Björn both decide very last moment to come into the pits. So they are equal with each other. Which tyres will they pit for? Steinos also comes in at the same time. JohnJohn pits for mediums. Krispy Kreme's that's the fastest lap of the race, and Björn pits for mediums and Steinos pits for mediums. They're all on equal tyres. And Kodkamper, where is he going to come out in all of this? He is going to come out just behind, and maybe if he can catch up to the DRS, he might be able to turn this into a three-way battle for the lead. But right now, Kodkamper will have to slot in. He's got a 2-second gap to Björn, which if he can utilise those while his tyres are warmed up, but I don't think it's going to plan for Kodkamper. No, he will have to hope that Björn and JohnJohn battle so much that they trip each other over with 8 laps left in this race. As Wouter makes his way past David, who is in for his final stop of the race. Ah, Willow, you should subscribe to the Twitch then. That would have been smart. Steinos making his way past Alessio, but Alessio goes off track. Maybe a bit of contact there. Not what we wanted to see. And we get Björn 10th and a half, just behind JohnJohn. Whatever will be when JohnJohn and Björn fight as he looks down the inside and stays behind. Oh, maybe a warning there for Björn. Looks like it went just slightly off track. If one of these guys gets a time penalty, then this race is going to go in the hands of the other driver. But both of them to be looking very, very steady and very, very nicely packing in behind each other. So nicely that they could probably fit in a box. Or Björn just slotting in behind. I don't think Björn wants to push overly massively, just so that way he can utilise the fresh tyres, and he just wants to let JohnJohn do all the work. But in other news, the F1 movie is now out. I'm going to see it on Monday. No spoilers, please. Apparently the review is very good. Welcome back from the ads, Willow. You missed me singing, so I hope you enjoy that when you look back on this stream. Yeah, that's what you get for not paying for a subscription. JohnJohn and Björn still being the two out of class stuff. To be fair, Steinos is now in DRS of his teammate here. In in DRS range of his teammate. Will he have DRS? Bit wheel spin on the exit of 3. But he did not get DRS, which is not very good for his race. But with those fresh mediums, you imagine he will be able to get back into range. I mean, Björn and JohnJohn are just gonna go. They're gonna be like, what's the casting? Two tubes on a summer night or something like that. I think that's the saying. They're going to be just that. 2 tubes on a summer night. I don't know, but we do. We make do. But as you can see, calm racing. So Alessio is in DRS of Steinos now. Oh, almost. Alessio does have DRS on Steinos, which he will now be looking for the back of that Red Bull. Maybe this is a sign that Steinos's medium tyres are starting to fall off a bit. But we will have to see what happens. And as you can see, this is very, very calm. Very, very nice. Cod Camper, no! Cod Camper getting a 3-second time penalty. That is not good. That pushes that pushes Steinos into P3 at the end of this race, with Alessio being pushed up to P4. And even if Alessio finishes ahead, then wow, this could be some juicy stuff here. But everything is just fitting down. As you can see, Björn has just been sitting behind JohnJohn for what must feel like the entire race. He is waiting to pounce. He's got 5 laps left to try and pounce and get both 2 for 2 in open tier. He is still deciding. They have got a lap car ahead. I believe that is Krispy Kreme. So we will wait to see if anything happens. Yeah, Willow's just got a hunch that these two will be 2 birds. As Steinos has made his way past Cod Camper. And Alessio having a look down the inside, a little bit of contact there. Cod Camper does go onto the grass, unfortunately. That contact did send them off track, so maybe there will be some decisions made in the stewards' room later tonight. However, Rothwell pits. He's gone on those hard tyres for 16 laps, and he pits for a set of softs. That's the first time I think that that's the first time we've seen the soft tyres today. So he will be going for the last lap. Maybe we'll see what he can produce. But right now, battles are going on at the front of the grid. For the battle for P1, slotting up very nicely in the 3 laps we've got left. And further back, this 3-car or 4-car train in this battle for is it 4? No, it's 3. This 3-car battle for P3. Cod Camper does have a 3-second time penalty, so Alessio and Steinos are battling out for that coveted podium position, which he will be very happy with. And Björn is just still sitting back. Maybe Björn's tyres are starting to fall off a bit, which is stopping him being able to make a move. Alessio has made his way past Steinos, but Steinos will fight back. Bit of contact between the two. And Alessio will have a look. And, oh! Alessio goes defensive, but Steinos, that's Cod, sorry, get a bit of contact there. And Krispy Kreme is definitely not helping out these cars. Rothwell sets the fastest lap. Oh, that's Rothwell, sorry. Rothwell sets the fastest lap of the race. Lap of the race, even. With a 1.61. That's a great lap time from him. There is no fastest lap point, but he's done it. And Steely's staying perfectly. He is the GOAT. Which he can have an imaginary point. But speaking of, it is going to be the final lap of the race, and it's going to be JohnJohn versus Björn for the win. Of course, Björn did win last week in dominant fashion in a wet, mixed conditions Canada race. But Björn will have the use of DRS. Rothwell getting another time penalty. And when will Björn look to make the move? It is always making the move now. Bit of contact there between the two. So that will mean that JohnJohn will stay ahead of Björn. Now, but Björn getting maybe a better run out of turn 4 into 6 now. But Björn is not close enough, and as you can see, gap is going down, which means gap of 3/10. But that does mean that JohnJohn is going to cross the line in his first open tier race. And Björn gets a 3-second time penalty out of the end. That is so unfortunate for your Björn. He will keep P2, but JohnJohn will win, and Steinos will cross the line to P3, Alessio P4, Kodkamper with the 3-second time penalty getting P5, which means that up next will be Wouter, who gets a 3-second time penalty there. Will he finish ahead of David? He will, I imagine, but Krispy Kreme also pitted for softs. I did not see that, so he's looking to take the fastest lap, but he did not. So David will cross the line P7, and my NA teammate, go on Shivers, you've got this, mate. And Shivers will cross the line P8, and Rothwell and Krispy Kreme P9 and 10. That was a decent race. Unfortunately, the numbers just weren't there. But with the people that we did have, we got some great battles. And as you can see, when we get to the podium, as long as we don't get this black screen, otherwise I will fire the TV directive. JohnJohn making his way to the top of the podium. And JohnJohn will celebrate a very, very nice P1. He was having some great battles with Björn into every corner. They were very matchly paced the entire race, and it came out at the end that JohnJohn but that does mean that this is the end of the race. We are black screened, unfortunately, which is not what we wanted to see, because I need the race results, and I hope someone can get a screenshot. We have been black screened, so I will get the screenshot from the stream after the stream. But anyway, that is it from me for this open tier Austria race. There is a bit of... We will see what happens next week with open tier, because there might be some interesting things happening. We'll wait and see for that. I don't want to get your hopes up, but, you know, we'll wait and see. Deflated Wee and Snacks will be back on Sunday for the assist tier race, which will always bring out some fun stuff there. So I hope you guys will be here for that at 7:30 UK time or 8:30 European time or whatever correlation to your time zone that is. And Killian will be back for round 3 of NA on Tuesday, which will be the Silverstone Grand Prix, which is sure going to be fun. So I hope you'll be around for that. But I will be back next week with the Thursday tier race of Silverstone. It is a home race for a lot of people in the league, so we'll wait and see how that goes. I hope you'll be able to join me for that. Yes, Willow, it'll be good practice on Monday to figure out how to drive that track. But anyway, that's it from me, and I will see you next week. Bye!